Hi, Aslam class. It's the 21st of January today, and it's your science lesson. So, in science yesterday, what you should have done is recapped a little bit of work on Living Bliss, had a look at his website again, and then done another sort of database classification table for me with all of them animals that were on that slide that you had to spot, or living things, I should say, not just animals, but living things on that slide, and you had to spot as many living things as you could. Well done for posting that up onto Tapestry for those of you who did. Um, very good work going on there. We're going to move on in our science lesson today. Still looking at kind of living things and that, but here we are. So I've gone from the beginning. Let's quickly skip through yesterday's lesson and on to today's lesson. There we are. Perfect. Right, today's lesson is Thursday, the 21st of January, and today is can you begin to identify the advantages and disadvantages of changing the environment? Okay, because obviously when we build and progress, we are changing the environment. There's building work going on just down the road from me here, and that's changed the environment as well. So today we're going to be talking about that in relation to habitats and habitats. What do you think habitats are? Okay, this this lesson may require you to have a look outside. I know at the moment with Storm Christoph, it may be a bit difficult. We are expecting 2 months worth of rain to fall in 48 hours. So get your swimming costume on and your flippers and your snorkels ready because it could get mightily wet. So in today's lesson, we'll begin to understand how one habitat may be better than others for specific people. And we'll also be trying to justify our thoughts by thinking about how all that we already know in relation to living things. So your local area. Have a little think about your local area. You may, if you don't want to get soaking wet, I've got another plan for you, so just hold on there. A walk may help you to think about what your local area looks like. So if it's not raining or anything like that, maybe you want to have a look around your local area and get you to think about what it looks like. You could go to your park, you could go to another street that's near your home. And then you would start to write things down, think about it. What do you like about it? What do you like about your park? Is it that you like all the trees? What do you like about that street? Do you like the way the street lights are? Do you like people's front gardens and things like that? So it's all about you being very observant. And then I want you to think about which area in your local area do you think is used most often? So what part of your local area do most people use? I know for me, the park that is near me is used a lot. And then have a think of this one. In your whole time of you living in your local area, some of you may have moved houses and things like that, that's fine. But think about where you are now, or if you used to live in a house somewhere else. Have you seen your environment change over the years? And if so, what changes have happened? And are the different places in your local areas used by different animals or people? And note them things down. Now, obviously, if it's raining and it's chucking down with rain and you don't want to go outside and get wet, there is another way of doing it. And what you're going to do, if it is raining, is use our good old friend Google Earth. Now, the last time I used this, we were looking at the Colosseum. So, what you'll do is you'll type in your postcode into Google Earth, and you go to, if you type into the Google search Google Earth, and it will take you through to Google Earth. Now, here we are. This is South Bucks here, and we are going to zoom in on our local area. So let's zoom in. Okay, that's Collinbrook. That's an area in Slough. Here's Langley. where we are. Okay, so here we are. Some of you may know this area here. Harvey Skate Park. Langley Leisure Centre is here. Okay, so some of us may know this area. And I think, if my geography is correct, excuse me, there we go. Yeah. So here we have Langley Academy School, and you can see here this is Langley Academy Primary where my mouse is hovering over now. So this is our local area, and you can, if you want to, you can use Google Earth to have a look at your local area if it is really raining. You can go down into Street View, you can just look at down Top View, and you can see here that there's lots of trees. Okay. Well, that person's got a swimming pool in their back garden. Lovely. We have lots of different streets, and you can look at your local area using Google Earth. I can't remember if this works on this one. It doesn't have it on this one. On one I used in previous years, it might have changed, but you were able to change the year that these pictures were taken. So that could help you with how your environment has changed over the years. But have a look on Google Earth and have a look on it, okay? And you can see your local area. And then you may want to, in your work, you can then start thinking about what's around in your local area. What do people use? Are there any parks? Are there any woods? Has that changed over the years? And things like that. And so if it is raining and you don't want to get wet, you can actually go out, you can actually use Google Earth. And I was just sort of showing you there how to do it. So you can do this work from the comfort of your own home if you want to, if you don't want to go outside and get all soaking wet. So remember, have a think about your local area. If you don't want to go out for a walk because it's raining, look on Google Earth. Which area do you think is used most often? Have you seen any changes? I've seen lots of changes in my past, in my local areas. So let's move on. So now you've thought about your local area, you've thought about what's there, you've thought about the changes that have happened. We're going to read through this letter that has just been received from the TLAP Chair of Governors. Dear teachers, we have been offered a fantastic deal from a local adventure playground company for some new equipment and for the playground. Using the money we have raised from the recent bake sale, and because of the heavy discount we have been offered, we are able to buy similar equipment that is shown below. Because of the size of it, the only place that will be big enough to house it will be the wildlife pond area. We will have to drain the area and put safety tarmac down before being able to open it up. We're asking for your feedback on this idea. How often is the wildlife pond area used at the moment? Do you think the new playground equipment will be a good idea? Kind regards, Mr. Burford, the Chair of Governors. So it sounds exciting, doesn't it? Eh? New playground equipment, brilliant. But the only place it's going to go is in the conservation area, where all of our sort of ponds and wildlife is. So if we're going to build this, something's going to have to go. Now, what do you think of that proposed plan? Do you think it's a good plan or not? Okay. Now, there's two sides to every argument. There are always positive and negatives about building a venture playground on a wildlife area. So when you think about this, think about what positives there are, but also think of what the negative impact it's going to have on our environment. And so have a think about that. For example, there may be you may want to do a table and do sort of pros and cons. Pros meaning positive, cons meaning negatives. Pros would be you get a new playground to play on, brilliant. Yeah, lots of children can play on it. It's a social place. Brilliant. Bad things are when people are working, it may be dangerous. Workers area, dangerous. We're going to be using tools and things like that in the children's school that could pose a risk to our health and safety. Obviously, the wildlife that's there as well. Where is that going to go? All the little frogs and everything. Where are they all going to go if we build that? So think about your pros and cons, your positives and negatives. So task 1, list all the advantages and list all the disadvantages of having an adventure playground. Okay. And in the next 2 slides, you could set it out like that if you want to, or like that. Okay. So for an adventure playground, what would be the positives and negatives? And what's the positive and negatives of just having a wildlife area? Task 2, list the advantages and disadvantages of keeping the wildlife area as it is. Just already explained that for you. And in task number 3, decide which you think the school should choose, the adventure playground or wildlife area. And you'll record yourself explaining that reason. And if you don't want to record yourself, you can just write that down as well in a paragraph or something. So they're your tasks. List all the pros and cons for having a playground. List all the pros and cons for having the wildlife. And then task 3, decide whether you want to have it or not and record yourself giving your answer. Of course, you don't have to do all 3 of them, but I do expect you to do the first task at least. Okay, guys, that's your science lesson done for this week. I hope you enjoy. I hope you do well in the lesson. If you need any help, I am on Teams. Just leave me a message and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.